Hello everyone, my name's Anne and here I am, Senior Sizzle in my kitchen. We're making Yorkshire pudding today, something everybody's heard about. It's almost synonymous with England, like Dickens and or, who was the flipping, I can't remember the name of the Prime Minister. This is not for the real.
Margaret Thatcher?
No, God, no. Anyway, let's get going. Oh, there goes my oven. You gotta get your oven on, started pretty early at 450 to begin the process of baking these little goodies. Now, what's the difference between Yorkshire pudding and popovers? Because I'm converting that in a dish Yorkshire pudding through to little cups where we will have individual Yorkshire puddings, except that now they're known as popovers. So let's get started. First of all, we need 4 room temperature eggs. 4 eggs, and they should all be room temperature, as should be every other ingredient that you plan to use. When they go in the oven, we want them to immediately start puffing up and not waiting to get warm. So you can use a blender if you have one. Add the milk, and I'm using a low-fat milk. It's around 2%. You can use whatever you like. I've even made it with plant milk. Following that, we add the salt, just about half a teaspoon. Once you've beaten the eggs and the milk together with a little bit of salt, you need to measure the flour. We're going to have 1.5 cups, and I just loosen it a little in the container. This is all-purpose flour. You can use bread flour. And I just loosely fill. I don't want it packed. No scooping with the scoop into the flour. You, as I say, just lighten it in the container, spoon it in, use the knife to just level it off, and there we have 1.5 cups. I'm gonna add the flour, beat that in until it's reasonably smooth. Now, if you don't have an electric beater, you can use just a regular whisk. So now the final ingredient is a little melted butter. You can melt a little bit of butter and brush it onto the pans. I'm just using a little bit of paper towel, and you have to make sure you get right down into the corners. Well, there's no corners in these little round things, but make sure you do the tops too, because when the batter puffs up, some of it falls onto the outer rim and you don't want it to be stuck there. I always put a tray underneath. And also preparing the oven, they need to go into a very hot oven, 450 degrees for 20-25 minutes. Then you reduce the heat to around 350 to cook until you feel that they are completely baked. And that's another 15 to 20 minutes. Everybody's oven is a little bit different, so you do have to have a little watchful eye. And put them on the bottom rack. You don't want them to get too crispy and browned on the top, so the lower rack is better. If you have a jug or if you've got a blender, then you'll be able to pour right from the jug itself. But I'm going to add, oops, I'm going to get messy here. So fill the little cups all the way to the top, more or less. You will find that you've got just enough batter to do a complete fill for each one. And if you like, along the way, before you get to that point, you can put in a little bit of fresh thyme or some chopped chives. But I'm going to do that later in these smaller pans and do some variations on this. Right now, we've just got plain popovers, and they're going to go on the bottom rack in a 450 preheated oven with a timing of 20 minutes. An important point when baking the popovers is that once they are in the oven, there is no peeking, no opening the door. You will cause cold air to go in and it can deflate them, and there's no coming back. So put your oven light on and just peek through the window if you have one in your oven to watch the progress of the popovers puffing up. Break a little hole in the center just to let out the steam so they stay risen and crispy.
Ooh.
hot, 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 hot